Welcome. I'm Mayor Gary Sulz, and with me today is Paul Simon, Lead Planning and Development Services. Nice to have you back, Paul.
Happy to be here.
Today we're discussing the recently approved Housing Action Plan. So, Paul, what is this Housing Action Plan?
So a housing action plan is exactly as it sounds. It is a list of actions that can be undertaken by local government that would ultimately contribute to addressing some of the housing needs that we are currently experiencing as a community. I don't think it's any secret that housing is a hot topic in Revelstoke. Acquiring a house, getting into the market, and ultimately being able to find a place to rent. Huge challenges facing the community right now. So this plan will give us a roadmap on how we can play our part as local government to address some of those challenges.
Well, that's great. I mean, we know that housing's been an issue across the province, across the country, but having something for Revelstoke specific to help those who are here in our community really is a great thing to see. So I really appreciate that has come forward. So why is it important that we have this housing action plan?
So I think the last couple of years has shown us especially some of the challenges that can be placed on the local housing market.
Right.
So we are seeing increased land values, increased costs of construction. The pandemic exacerbated this, and all that kind of creates this perfect storm to contribute and exacerbate the housing challenges that we were already facing as a community. So it's very important, and obviously, and it would have been nice to have something started 10, 20 years ago to start to address this. Yeah. But we really need to get on this and start implementing as soon as possible, because these challenges are only going to continue to increase as we start to experience kind of the new reality of what it costs to house someone in Canada. It's a global issue, it's a national issue. So we definitely need to get going as soon as possible on this.
Great, good. So are there some highlights from the plan that you can share with our audience?
Certainly. So the plan does include a number of different actions. One of the key things in there pertains to amendments to our zoning bylaw. Right. There's a lot of ways that we can amend the zoning bylaw to incentivize the type of housing that we are ultimately seeking. So for example, right now our zoning bylaw, it doesn't incentivize small units, small lot sizes. So those are some changes that we can make to try and allow the market to cater to the type of housing needs that the community has indicated are required right now. Some of the other items include looking at the funds that the city collects. So we get online accommodation platform funds, and we also have the ability to start to establish an affordable housing reserve and build up those funds, and making those funds available for nonprofits within the community so that they can not only apply to council to get some of these funds to support projects, but also look to ask for land from the city to be donated to help support some of these projects. So we need to get a process in place to start rolling that out, and the Housing Action Plan provides a roadmap on how we're going to do that.
Oh, that's great. That, in seeing that sort of thing as it came to council, looking at it going, okay, so now we have a baseline with which we can build. Exactly. And that's really good. Yeah. So what are the next steps for the Housing Action Plan, and where do we go from here?
Oh, that's excellent. And that's always the big question. And when we put these plans together, it's excellent to give us that roadmap, but it really is, like you said, it's the baseline, it's the starting point, because now the real work begins to implement it. Right. So within the development services group, there's been a lot of master planning that's been getting undertaken for the last couple of years now, and it's been great this year to see it brought before council and ultimately get adopted. Yes. And what that does is it sets the stage for us to start methodically implementing these plans through detailed work plans, looking at what bylaws need to be amended, what policies need to be developed, how do we need to collaborate with different segments of the community to get some of these pieces in place. So, the short answer is it's going to take a robust implementation plan that will be kind of internal department work plan to start to bring some of these items before council to start to respond to the actions that are identified in our master plans.
Oh, that's great. So really, when we start looking at this, it really puts the onus on your department to come up with a plan as we move forward. But it's work, I hear, that you guys are happy to challenge and go forward with.
We are excited to see it come forward, and council has approved these master plans, setting the direction, and now it's up to staff to begin to bring the pieces forward to implement.
Yeah, that's great. Appreciate that. Well, thanks for joining me today, Paul. The Housing Action Plan is vital to meeting our housing needs in Revelstoke. I'm so glad that we could share this with our audience today. Thanks as well to the audience for listening in. Be sure to take a few minutes to watch our other videos on the city Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram accounts. And thanks again. Thanks, Paul.